Welcome back to the deep dive. You guys sent in a really fascinating mix of news this time.
Yeah.
It's everything from Japanese art and festivals to like Rome's tourism boom,
Right.
and even how like venture capitalists are changing their investments. It
Yeah.
feels like there's this thread connecting it all, like
Yeah.
how tradition and change are kind of bumping up against each other
Yeah,
everywhere.
totally. I see that. Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's like we're watching this global dance between like the old and the new,
Yeah.
where each step influences the other.
Okay, so let's like unpack this.
Okay.
Starting with the art world.
Sure.
So the Shimane Prefectural Art Museum, they made headlines.
Yeah.
They spent something like 300 million yen on one piece by Ito Jikuchu.
Wow.
You know that Edo period painter famous for his bird paintings?
Right, right.
And they're doing a whole exhibition about realism in Japanese art,
Oh, wow.
drawing a line from Jikuchu all the way to Andy Warhol. I gotta admit, that connection had never even occurred to me.
It is. It's a surprising pairing when you first hear it.
Yeah.
But when you consider how both Jikuchu and Warhol, even though they're centuries apart,
Right.
they were both pushing the boundaries of how we represent, like, reality,
Uh-huh.
the connection, it becomes much more clear.
Yeah.
Jikuchi with all his meticulous details, and then Warhol with his repetitions,
Mm-hmm.
they each captured the essence of their time, but in a way that still resonates with us.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Makes you think about how these artists were kind of revolutionaries.
Yeah.
In their own right. They were challenging all the conventions
Yeah.
and paving the way for these new forms of expression.
Totally.
And speaking of reinterpreting tradition,
Yeah.
there's this Connecting Lymphatic Spirits exhibition in Fukuyama,
Okay.
showcasing Sasuke Kamisaka's work.
Mm.
Now, Kamisaka draws inspiration from the Rinpa school,
Oh, interesting.
which dates back to the Edo period,
Right.
but it's known for like a really decorative style and use of gold leaf.
Yeah, the Rintapa school, with its like nature-inspired designs
Yeah.
and intricate details,
Uh-huh.
it's really seen a resurgence lately.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, in these uncertain times that we live in,
Yeah.
people are finding comfort and beauty in that kind of timeless aesthetic.
Yeah.
But Kamasaka doesn't just like replicate the style.
Right.
He blends it with more abstract, modern elements.
Uh-huh.
It's like a perfect example of how artists can bridge the gap between like tradition and innovation.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
It's like he's having a conversation with the past, taking these traditional techniques and then giving them this fresh contemporary voice.
Totally.
It makes me think about that other exhibition, Edo in Black,
Yeah.
at the Itabashi Art Museum.
Hmm.
I gotta admit, I hadn't really thought about darkness as a theme in Edo period art before.
It's intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of art do you think we'll see there?
Well, I imagine we'll see works that explore like the use of light and shadow, maybe even pieces that delve into like the symbolic meaning of darkness in Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It challenges our assumptions about the Edo period.
Yeah.
It encourages us to see it in a new light,
Mm-hmm.
or rather, a new darkness.
Yeah, and IT Media Executive mentioned 3 other noteworthy exhibitions happening in 2025.
Right.
So we'll have to keep an eye out for those
Definitely.
and see how they fit into this whole theme.
Yeah.
But for now, let's shift gears from the art world
Yeah.
to something a bit more tangible,
Sure.
travel.
Okay.
Those Airbnb prices in Rome, they really caught my attention.
Oh, yeah.
Skyrocketing.
Yep.
I get that it's the Jubilee year in 2025,
Uh-huh.
but a potential influx of 32 million visitors.
Oh.
That's just mind-boggling.
It's incredible how a single event,
Yeah.
in this case a religious pilgrimage,
Right.
can have such a dramatic impact on a city's economy.
Yeah.
But it does raise some concerns, right?
It-
This kind of price surge could easily price out locals, forcing them to compete for housing in their own city.
Uh-huh.
And it might even push Rome to invest really heavily in infrastructure, which could be good, but also disruptive.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if the city's going to prioritize short-term profits
Right.
or the long-term sustainability of its culture and community.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger issue than just like inflated prices. It's a
Yeah.
real dilemma
Mm-hmm.
trying to balance those economic benefits of tourism
Yeah.
with the potential downsides of over-tourism.
Right.
It makes me think about those traditional festivals in Japan like Onya
Yeah.
You know, the Demon Night Festival in Kurume.
Right.
I wonder how they managed to, like, maintain their authenticity
Yeah.
while also attracting tourists.
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
You know, festivals like Onya, they offer a window into Japan's rich cultural heritage,
Yeah.
but striking a balance
Right.
between preserving that tradition and accommodating these modern audiences. It's always a challenge.
Right.
Some might argue that tourism inevitably dilutes authenticity, while others might see it as a way to keep these traditions alive
Yeah.
and introduce them to a wider audience.
Right.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about the role of tourism in this globalized world.
Yeah.
You know, how we can learn from other cultures without inadvertently harming them.
Right.
But let's move on to something that might give us a bit more optimism.
Okay.
Those young venture capitalists focusing on social enterprises.
Oh, yeah.
I find that really encouraging.
It is a positive sign, right?
Yeah.
This new generation of investors.
Yeah.
They seem to be challenging that traditional notion that profit is the sole measure of success.
Right.
They're looking for ventures that generate both financial returns and positive social impact.
Right.
It's like they're saying, we can do well by doing good.
But are they being naive? It's one thing to have good intentions, but it's quite another to actually make a business work while also trying to solve these complex social problems.
Yeah.
Do you think they're underestimating the challenges?
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Balancing profit and purpose is undoubtedly a difficult task.
Right.
And there's always that risk of greenwashing, where companies exaggerate their social impact just for marketing.
Right.
But even with those challenges,
Yeah.
this shift in mindset is significant.
Okay.
It suggests that investors are becoming more aware of the interconnectedness of business, society, and the environment.
Right.
And it aligns with that growing interest in ESG investing.
Yeah.
Considering environmental, social, and governance factors, which is becoming really influential in the financial world these days.
It's definitely a trend worth watching.
Yeah.
And it ties back to our initial observation about tradition and change. These young VCs, they're, in a way, challenging that traditional model of venture capital.
Right.
Pushing for a more holistic approach that considers the broader impact of their investments.
Totally.
And speaking of shifts in the investment landscape, there's that other article from Nikkei VC highlighting a change in startup investments. It seems like there's less funding going to later stage companies and more going towards early stage seed-funded ventures.
That is fascinating.
What do you make of that?
It could indicate a few things.
Okay.
Maybe investors are becoming more risk-tolerant, seeking potentially faster returns with early-stage ventures.
Okay.
Perhaps they have heightened confidence in these emerging technologies, and they want to get in on the ground floor of the next big thing.
Right.
Or it could be a response to the changing global economy, with investors seeking more agile and adaptable companies that can navigate uncertainty.
Okay.
It's like they're betting on the disruptors, the game changers who are rewriting the rules.
That's a great analogy. And it reminds me of how those Edo period artists like Jakuchu, they were pushing boundaries and challenging conventions in their time. They were the disruptors of their era, weren't they?
Absolutely. They were challenging all the established norms, paving the way for new forms of artistic expression.
Right.
Much like these early stage startups are doing in the business world today. It's a reminder that innovation often arises from those who dare to think differently and challenge the status quo.
It's almost like a modern-day gold rush.
Right.
But instead of digging for gold, they're unearthing innovative ideas.
Exactly.
And just like in a gold rush, there's a sense of excitement and risk, but also the potential for great rewards.
Right.
And a reshaping of the landscape.
Totally.
I'm eager to see what these ventures unearth. And how they contribute to shaping the future.
Me too.
But for now, let's take a short break.
Okay.
And come back to explore some of the other news you shared.
Sounds good.
Including those intriguing Christmas movie recommendations.
All right. It's remarkable how we keep coming back to this theme. Of tradition and change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like whether we're talking about art or investments, or even holiday traditions. It seems to be like a defining characteristic of our time.
It really does. Speaking of holiday traditions, before we dive back into the news, let's talk about those Christmas movie recommendations.
Okay.
Do you have any guesses about which films made the list? I'm always on the lookout for new holiday favorites.
Well, the article did mention that a British film critic compiled this list of 6 Christmas comedies.
Okay.
So we can probably rule out anything too sentimental or dramatic.
Right.
I'm picturing films that are witty, heartwarming, and maybe a little bit quirky.
Okay.
A reflection of that British humor.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing. British comedies often have such a unique charm. Okay, back to our news roundup.
Right.
We were just talking about those early stage ventures attracting so much investment.
Right.
It reminds me of the art world, where sometimes it's those early innovators, the ones who break with tradition. They become the most influential figures in the long run.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, the pioneers get the arrows, the settlers get the land.
Right.
Those early artists and entrepreneurs who dared to challenge the conventions, they often faced criticism and resistance.
Right.
But they paved the way for others to follow. And sometimes it's only in retrospect that we recognize their true impact.
It's like they're planting seeds.
Yeah.
That might not blossom for years.
Right.
Even decades. But eventually grow into something remarkable.
Exactly.
But it's their willingness to take risks and challenge the status quo.
Wow.
That's what allows for progress and innovation.
Totally. And it requires a certain kind of vision, too.
Right.
A willingness to see beyond the present and imagine a different future.
Yeah.
It makes me think about those 3 noteworthy art exhibitions.
Oh, yeah.
Highlighted by IT Media Executive for 2025.
Right.
We don't know the details yet.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what kind of vision they present, how they engage with tradition and push boundaries.
It's almost like we're on the cusp of a cultural shift.
Yeah.
You know, a time when new ideas and perspectives are emerging and challenging the established norms.
Right.
And it's happening across different fields.
Yeah.
Art, business, technology.
Totally.
Even those traditional Japanese festivals like Onye. They're finding ways to adapt and remain relevant in a changing world.
Speaking of adapting and remaining relevant, we haven't even touched on the news about that taiga drama.
Oh, right.
Hikaru Kimi-e. Breaking streaming records.
Yeah.
Taiga dramas.
Yeah.
Those historical epics.
Right.
They're so deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. What do you think it says about contemporary audiences? That a show rooted in the past is resonating so strongly in the digital age?
It is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like there's this hunger for stories that connect us to our past, that explore these timeless themes of courage, love, resilience. Maybe in a world that's changing so rapidly, that historical dramas offer a sense of stability and grounding.
Interesting.
Or perhaps they provide a different lens to view our own times.
It's like looking into a mirror, but a mirror reflecting a different era.
Yeah.
And sometimes by looking at the past, we gain a clearer understanding of the present.
It's like those historical patterns we discussed earlier. You know, those echoes of tradition and change that keep recurring throughout history.
Exactly. And those patterns often extend beyond national borders, too.
Yeah.
Connecting different cultures and time periods.
Right.
In surprising ways.
We've seen how trends in the Japanese art world, for example, can parallel shifts in the global investment landscape.
It's true.
It's a reminder that we're all part of a larger human story.
Yeah.
You know, a tapestry woven together by countless threads.
And those threads often lead back to those fundamental questions that have preoccupied humans for centuries.
Right.
Who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going?
Right.
It's remarkable how those questions continue to drive our curiosity and inspire our creativity.
And sometimes those questions lead us to explore the darker side of human experience. I keep thinking about that Ito in Black exhibition.
Yeah.
It's such a provocative concept.
It is.
What do you think it is about darkness that continues to fascinate and intrigue us?
That's a profound question. Perhaps it's because darkness represents the unknown, the hidden, the mysterious.
Right.
It challenges our perceptions. And forces us to confront our fears.
Yeah.
And yet, darkness can also be a source of beauty.
Okay.
And contemplation. Think about the night sky, the depths of the ocean, the stillness of a forest at night.
It's like darkness holds certain power, a primal energy that both attracts and repels us.
Totally.
And art, in a way, allows us to explore that darkness safely.
Okay.
To confront our shadows.
Right.
And emerge transformed.
Like a journey into the unknown.
Yeah.
A descent into the depths of human experience.
And sometimes those journeys can be illuminating, revealing truths that we might not have seen in the bright light of day.
Right.
It makes me think about how travel, in its own way, can also be a journey into the unknown.
That's a great segue. Like we were talking earlier about the challenges of over-tourism. But travel, at its best, can be a transformative experience.
Right.
It exposes us to different cultures, different ways of life. It challenges our assumptions about the world.
It's like stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Right.
And immersing ourselves in something new and unfamiliar.
Yeah.
And in those moments of discomfort, we often discover something about ourselves, about our own capacity for growth and change.
It's like we're shedding our old skin.
Yeah.
Embracing new perspectives.
Yeah.
Becoming more well-rounded individuals.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe even picking up some new holiday traditions along the way.
Speaking of which, we still haven't revealed those Christmas movie recommendations.
Oh, right.
I'm starting to think this British film critic is holding out on us.
Yeah.
Keeping those cinematic gems a secret.
Don't worry, I won't let them off the hook that easily. We'll unravel that mystery before we wrap up our deep dive. But first, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about the interconnectedness of our world. It really struck a chord with me.
It's a concept that resonates deeply, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea that we're all interconnected, that our actions and choices have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
And those ripple effects, they can be seen in the news we've been discussing, from the economic impact of a religious event in Rome to the global reach of Japanese art and culture.
Right.
It's clear that we're living in an increasingly interconnected world.
And that interconnectedness brings both opportunities and challenges. It allows for the exchange of ideas and cultural enrichment, but it also means we're all affected by events happening on the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we're all part of a larger human story.
Right.
A narrative that's constantly unfolding and evolving.
And it's a narrative that's full of surprises, unexpected connections, hidden depths.
Totally.
Just like our deep dive today.
Yeah.
What started as a seemingly random collection of news snippets has turned into this fascinating exploration of global trends and cultural insights.
Yeah, we've uncovered links between art, business, travel.
Right.
Even holiday traditions.
Yeah.
And we've delved into some pretty profound questions along the way.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
And it all started with a simple collection of news snippets.
I know. It's amazing how these seemingly disparate pieces of information can come together to paint a broader picture of the world.
Yeah.
It's like we've been piecing together a puzzle.
Right.
And with each new piece, we gain a clearer understanding of the whole.
And just like a puzzle, sometimes the most intriguing pieces are the ones that don't seem to fit at first glance. But with a little patience and a willingness to look beyond the surface, we can often find those unexpected connections that make the whole picture even richer and more fascinating.
And that's the beauty of exploration, isn't it? That willingness to venture into uncharted territory, to embrace the unknown, to discover those hidden connections that weave together the fabric of our world.
And with that spirit of exploration, let's finally unravel the mystery of those Christmas movie recommendations.
Ooh.
All right, no more suspense. This British film critic's list of Christmas comedies spilled the beans.
Okay, I'll reveal the titles. But before I do, I think it's worth reflecting on why we find these holiday films so appealing, especially comedies. What is it about a good Christmas comedy that makes us want to watch it year after year?
I think it's a combination of things. There's the nostalgia factor, of course.
Right.
Those familiar stories and characters, they evoke a sense of warmth and comfort, reminding us of happy childhood memories or past holidays spent with loved ones.
Yeah, and there's something about the holiday season itself that lends itself to comedy.
Right.
Maybe it's the heightened emotions, the family gatherings, the inevitable mishaps and misunderstandings.
Right.
It's all ripe for comedic exploration.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And comedy, at its core,
Yeah.
it's about finding humor in the unexpected,
Right.
in the absurdity of life.
Totally.
And the holidays, with all their traditions and expectations,
Yeah.
they often provide ample opportunities for those unexpected moments to arise.
It's like we need that release,
Right.
that laughter,
Yeah.
to counterbalance all the stress and pressure that often comes with the holidays.
Right.
We need to be reminded that it's okay to not take things too seriously, to find joy in the chaos,
Right.
and to embrace the imperfections.
Exactly. And a good Christmas comedy allows us to do just that.
It does.
You know, it gives us permission to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
To find humor in the messy reality of family dynamics, and to appreciate the simple joys of the season.
Right. It's like a shared cultural experience.
Yeah.
A way to connect with others and reaffirm our common humanity.
And maybe, just maybe, it gives us a little bit of hope.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
A reminder that even in the midst of challenges and setbacks, there's always room for laughter and joy.
I like that.
Okay, enough philosophizing about Christmas comedies.
All right.
Let's hear those titles.
Okay, here they are.
Yeah.
The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant.
Okay.
The Always Charming Love Actually. The British classic, A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
Though not always played for laughs.
Right.
This version leans comedic.
Okay.
The Holiday, with Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet. The more recent, Last Christmas, set in London.
Okay.
And finally, Paddington 2. Because who doesn't love a heartwarming bear with impeccable manners?
That's quite a list.
Yeah.
A mix of classics and newer releases, heartwarming stories, and laugh-out-loud moments. I have to admit, I've only seen a few of these.
Oh, really?
It seems like I have some catching up to do.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder that there's always something new to discover.
Right.
Even within familiar traditions. And that brings us back to our theme of tradition and change.
Yeah.
Even our holiday viewing habits are evolving. Embracing new stories while still cherishing those beloved classics.
It's like we're adding new ornaments to our Christmas tree each year. We're still holding on to those treasured ones that have been passed down through generations. Each ornament tells a story, reflects a moment in time, and contributes to the unique tapestry of our lives.
And that tapestry, like our deep dive today, it's full of unexpected connections, surprising twists, hidden depths.
We've explored art, travel, investment trends.
I know, right?
Japanese culture. And even Christmas comedies.
It's been an incredible journey.
It has.
And it all started with a simple collection of news snippets.
It just goes to show that there's always something fascinating to uncover.
Yeah.
Even in the most mundane headlines.
Absolutely.
So to our listeners,
yeah,
thank you for sharing your news snippets with us.
Thank you.
You've given us a glimpse into your world. And in turn, we've shared our thoughts and insights with you.
We hope this deep dive has inspired you to look at the world with a fresh perspective, to seek out those hidden connections, and to embrace the endless possibilities of learning and discovery.
And until next time,
yes,
keep exploring,
keep questioning,
and keep diving deep.